devastation we brought upon ourselves will eat us alive. For history will repeat itself. Unless our destiny lies within another.
Metro Last Light is the kind of sequel that every game should strive to have. It improves on its predecessor, Metro 2033, in nearly every way and delivers you a familiar FPS experience, but with so many unique mechanics that keep it fresh. If you've never played a Metro game before or read the novels that they're based on, the Metro series takes place in post-apocalyptic Russia, where nuclear war has rendered the surface of Earth uninhabitable. The survivors of this Judgment Day took refuge in the metro tunnels of Moscow, where they now live in a new society. And this is a very dark and depressing post-apocalyptic world. This isn't really Fallout, this is more like The Road. There's disease, war, poverty, pretty much anything horrible you can imagine in this world. Now in Last Light you play as Artyom, who is a man searching for the last known survivor of a mutant race known as the Dark Ones. Your journey will take you all through the metro, through the tunnels, the train tracks, and maintenance areas, but you'll also get to visit the planet's surface, and oh my goodness is it ever beautiful. And it's not just Earth's surface that looks good in Metro Last Light, all the locations look good. I really can't remember one area I went to where I didn't think that the environment was incredibly well detailed. And it's this level of detail that speaks to Last Light's key feature, immersion. This game is so immersive, everything about it. You truly feel like you're a soldier in a post-apocalyptic world, desperately fighting off everything that comes at you. Now Last Light features a very limited heads-up display to help with this immersion, and there is a thing called Ranger mode you can play in which will turn off the HUD completely. But guess what? It's not in the standalone game. Yeah, unless you pre-ordered it or pay $5 after the game was released, you can't play in Ranger mode. So great, now because of that I have to take this great experience and just dock a couple points here because they decided to take a very key and awesome feature of the game and make it not available to all customers. Whew, alright, DLC rant will have to wait for another day. And you know, there still are a lot of things in Last Light that help with this immersion, such as when you're on the surface of Earth, you always have to be wearing a gas mask in order to breathe. And when you're fighting with a gas mask on, it'll sometimes get like rain or water or blood or guts and all kinds of stuff all over it, and you can tap a button to wipe off your gas mask, and you will also need a supply of filters that you can put on your gas mask every few minutes in order to keep breathing. And if your filter is running low, you'll hear Artyom start to gasp and choke on fumes, signaling that you've got to change your gas mask filter quickly or you're gonna die. Now I could go on for this whole review just talking about the immersive things that Last Light does, but just suffice to say that this is going to be the most immersive FPS you've played in a while. Now let's talk about the real most important thing in an FPS, the shooting. You have a various selection of weapons to choose from, ranging from pistols, SMGs, assault rifles, shotguns, rifles, stuff like that, and they all have this really nice kind of homemade design to them. The sound assets are all great, all the weapons feel like they pack a punch, and you can even see just on the design of the weapons themselves how many bullets you have left if you don't have a HUD in Ranger mode. You'll be fighting an even amount of soldiers and mutants in Last Light, which keeps a nice pace of your regular FPS shooter action with some survival horror kind of elements. Another carryover is from Metro 2033, where all the bullets in the game are usually homemade, like they're not really all that powerful, they're the most common kind of ammo. But you can also find military grade rounds, which deal extra damage and you can load them into your guns, but they also act as currency, so you're going to want to use them sparingly. The combat also feels appropriately desperate. You don't really feel like Rambo unless you're playing on the easiest difficulty, in which you can pretty much just shoot your way through anything. On the harder difficulties, ammo is a lot more scarce and you're going to have to be very careful about how you use it unless you want to get caught fighting a bunch of mutants with your knife. Now in your travels you'll come across merchants, and at weapon merchants you can upgrade and customize your weapons, although granted, there's not really very many things you can customize with, it's pretty limited. However, there are some pretty cool things you can do to your guns, such as putting silencers on double-barreled shotguns and upgrading your measly pistol with a longer barrel in stock, essentially turning it into a compact rifle. Now, whenever you're not shooting at people, you're probably going to be sneaking around in the dark trying to cut their throats. And how essential stealth is to the game really is going to depend on what difficulty you're playing on. Like I said earlier, on the easy difficulty, you're probably just going to be able to shoot through anything you want, and you'll only really be using stealth if you want to roleplay. But on the harder difficulties, stealth is really the way you're going to want to get through as many situations as possible, because open combat, you're going to get wrecked pretty quick. The stealth, however, is kind of too easy, like almost nonsensically easy. What I mean is, like on your wristwatch, which you can see at all times, it has this indicator. If it's showing blue on your watch, it means you're visible. And if it's not showing blue, then you're in the dark. But when you're in the dark, you are basically unnoticeable no matter how close you are to enemies. Like there were times where I could stand literally right in front of an enemy and they wouldn't see me and they wouldn't react. Thankfully, outside of some of these stealth gameplay blunders, I didn't notice any real problems with the AI. They do some cool things, like they'll actively search for you if you start a firefight and then go into hiding. If you get too close to some mutants, then they'll leave the pack and kind of come after you on their own. And the NPCs also are quite interesting. You probably will be kind of lost as to some of what the locations are and who these people are, the factions that exist in the Metro if you haven't played Metro 2033, but Last Light I think still serves as the good starting point for this franchise. Last Light took me about 10 hours to complete on the normal difficulty, and I would love to say it has huge replay value with Ranger mode, but it is not included with the standard copy of the game. Still, the world of Metro is so well realized in Last Light that I would still want to go and play through it again maybe in a couple months just to get a bit more of the experience. Admittedly, it is a fairly linear game, especially at the first few hours. All through Last Light, you're going to be getting a lot of scripted sequences, cutscenes, and forced along very small paths, but the thing is, it's all so well detailed and so immersive that you're not really going to care. Now I want to talk about a few things that I didn't enjoy so much. First of all, Artyom I guess is kind of shy, because he only likes to speak during the loading screens when no one's around. And it really is kind of annoying, because I want to know about Artyom's backstory. I want to know more about this character and where he came from and things like that. I want to be able to relate to him. The faceless protagonist just doesn't really seem to work here. I don't like playing as someone in this kind of game who I can't really know anything about. Another thing is that I think Metro Last Light would have really benefited from having just a basic leaning system. There were a lot of sections, especially in stealth, where I was trying to just peek out and see what was going on around corners, but would end up just getting spotted because it turns out that there's a guy standing right there. I also had a bit of an issue with some of the sloppy English voice acting with thick Russian accents, and there was even one game-breaking bug that resulted in me having to restart an entire boss battle. Now I would recommend that you play Last Light on PC if you have a very powerful rig that can run this game on high settings with a very good frame rate. If you don't, the console versions are shockingly really beautiful too. I got my copy for Xbox 360 because my PC I didn't think was going to be good enough to be able to run this game on its good settings. And I was really worried that such old hardware with the Xbox 360 wouldn't be able to run this game at a very good level. But instead, the game looks great. It's optimized very well for consoles, surprisingly. And so my final thoughts are that I knew Metro Last Light was going to be good, but not this good. So I'm going to be giving it a very, very well-earned 9 out of 10. It's definitely my biggest sleeper hit of the year so far. Any self-respecting FPS fan or adventure fan or really anyone who loves great visuals and atmosphere in games has to go pick up this game. We need more Metro games. I just hope that Last Light sells well enough, because this game has kind of inspired me to go read Metro 2033 again. Anyway guys, thanks for watching my review of Metro Last Light. If you enjoyed, leave a like to let me know, and give me your review in the comments. My name has been JAYTALK, thank you very much for watching once again, and as always, have a good one.